for tuning in. This is my Beagle Mix Molly and my Chocolate Lab Sadie. Today I just wanted to make a quick video to tell you some ways to get your dog to stop barking. Nuisance barking is a huge concern with pet owners and something that I'm asked about quite often in dogs. So the biggest thing is to figure out why your dog's barking. If it's nuisance barking and he's just barking to hear himself bark, that becomes a bigger issue. But if you live, for example, somewhere where there's a lot of traffic, or maybe you live in a rural area, people walk by your house a lot, things like that, and that's what's making your dog bark, the easiest thing to do is just take away the motivation to bark. So if your dog is barking because he sits by the window and looks and sees the cars go by or people walking, just invest in some curtains, or if he has like a bed or something near the window, try and relocate that and just remove the motivation. Use any kind of a barrier. Sometimes dogs will be outside and they'll bark, so maybe you just need to put up a screen on that section of the fence that looks out towards your driveway that he can't see through, or something like that. Removing the motivation to bark is the biggest thing in that case. If your dog barks when people come to your house, or if you frequently have people over, you live in an apartment and people are frequently walking by and that's what's causing your dog to bark, redirect him. Use a treat or a toy, and when your dog's nuisance barking begins, when somebody shows up at the door, just use the treat or the toy to distract him and bring him to an area where you want him to go. At this time, you also want to use a verbal command. With my dogs, I just say, "It's okay," and they are redirected. Now they have been trained where they know that when I say "it's okay," it means everything's fine, you don't need to bark at this person, and go out into the living room is where I would redirect them to. But you could redirect to any area, or a dog bed, and maybe another room where you want them to be when you have company over. If your dog is barking during crate training, or barking simply for attention, to be a nuisance and try and gain some attention, you really need to ignore it. It's almost like a little toddler throwing a tantrum. If you ignore it, he's going to realize that he's not going to get the attention that he wants, whether he wants you to play with him or whether he wants you to come and get him out of his crate. He'll quickly realize that that's not what he's going to get. So you have to completely ignore it. Do not show the dog any attention. Even negative attention is still a positive for a dog that's trying to get you to pay attention to him. So, talking to him, telling him to stop that, yelling at your dog, that's not going to help. It's actually still going to be attention, and it's going to reinforce the behavior. So you want to completely ignore him. When he stops barking for a good amount of time, say 30 seconds to a minute, where there's a noticeable gap in between the barking, then you can praise him during those short gaps. And once you praise him when he's quiet, eventually your dog is going to realize that what you want is for him to be quiet. The nuisance barking, the annoying barking for attention, is not going to get him what he's after. Sometimes nuisance barking is linked to boredom, so you may think that your dog's whining in his crate because he wants to get out at night, or he is barking at you or whining because he wants attention from you when you're, say, working on the computer or reading a book. That may be the case, but it also may just be that your dog's bored. So give a little thought to how much time your dog spends by himself, his typical energy level, and if you think that your dog is bored, find something that's going to stimulate him and entertain him. Find chews or toys that will entertain him. There's a lot of electronic dog toys now, puzzle games, things like that, that really mentally will stimulate your dog, and it will wear him out not only physically but mentally as well, and then you won't have that nuisance barking from boredom. One of the times that dogs frequently bark is when they're on a leash. Some dogs will get very protective when they get on a leash, so they'll bark at people walking by or other animals when they're walking. And the simple fix for that is a head halter. A head halter slips around the dog's muzzle and goes up around the back of his head and attaches to your lead. And with just a slight pull on the lead, it will tighten around his muzzle, not to the point where it hurts him. It's completely harmless and 100% humane, but it will just give a little bit of pressure to alert him that that barking is not okay. Other products that you can buy for dogs that bark a lot are anxiety and stress products. There is a wide variety of those products on the market. You can click the link below this video. It will take you to our website, and there's more information about some of those. There are pheromone products that mimic the smell of a mother dog to try and calm puppies or dogs. There are different anxiety shirts and blankets and things like that, anxiety toys. So there's lots of different things on the market to help a dog that's barking from stress or anxiety. You can also find bark collars, and again, there's a link on our site to some of the top bark collars that we have reviewed, and those are, some of them use a shock. I don't usually recommend those. I recommend the ones with a spray, and most of them have like a citronella spray. It's completely harmless, but it's just, as soon as your dog barks, it shoots out a little spray of mist, and it just redirects your dog every time he does it. The smell is not harmful to your dog. There's no chemicals in it or anything like that. They're all natural, but it just redirects him and alerts him to the fact that, hey, I'm barking and that's what's triggering this, and then they'll stop the nuisance barking. If none of that works, if you've tried everything, you really should look into working with a professional trainer. If a dog is just barking all the time and you can't figure out the reason, a trainer can come into your home and evaluate things, try and help you figure out the cause of the barking, and if all else fails, help you train your dog in multiple different ways to try and get that barking reduced. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me. Thanks for watching this video guide.